This is a 1 week on the wrist review of the M.A.D.1 Red by M.A.D. Editions, a side project by the creator of MB&F, Maximilian Busser. So people like me and normal people who can't afford $100,000 watches can get something that has kind of the stamp of $100,000 watches. So let's start from the bottom up. It's a double deployant butterfly clasp. One side is friction snap, the other side is button. You fish it into the keepers and snap down very easily. It's quite secure. I've been wearing it constantly for about a week, and it is quite nice on the wrist, I must say. The buckle itself is very reminiscent of something that you might see in the M.A.D. Gallery, which stands for Mechanical Art Design or Devices. And it's where you go to see artwork that is watch-based, clock-based, clockwork-based, and it's presented by Max Busser and MB&F. Most of the buckle is high polish, and then on the very top where the M.A.D. lettering is a vertical satin polish. The strap is very, very nice. It's got this micro texture, kind of textile thing that kind of feels like nylon, but I'm not 100% sure what it is. The underside is calfskin. Feels like it's held together very well with bonding material and with the contrasting stitch, which you can see a mile away and is the same shade of red as the rest of the watch. Thoughtfully done, not overly done, but it's beefy enough to hold up with a watch like this, which is beefy in of itself. The lugs are all high polish. Even the interior here is all high polish, and it's underslung, so the case is actually bonded to this plate of stainless steel that is the lugs, and it's also the bottom of the case, and so the rest of it is sitting right on top in this little cup created by the lugs, and it's just gorgeous. It doesn't look like the lugs are stepped out from the case. It looks intentional, and on the wrist it is so intuitive with how the wrist moves and how the wrist feels. It's just lovely. It really is. So you got a couple pieces of verbiage on the back here. You got the M.A.D. Editions, Maximilian Busser, water resistant, 3 atmospheres, the rain, maybe a shower. That's about it. I wouldn't take it swimming or anything like that. I honestly wouldn't shower with it. It's a M.A.D. world and stainless steel. A lot of this watch is aluminum, but the lugs and this bezel here, I'm pretty sure, is also stainless steel. The bottom portion, I'm going to kind of leave mostly a mystery, because I think that's kind of what Max Busser wanted to be. Just kind of, this watch should be a little mysterious with how the discs are created. They're not discs, they're cylinders. And the bottom is the minute hand, top is the hour hand, and they are rings that circumnavigate the side of the case, which is why the bottom of the case is all mineral glass. It's not sapphire, because that would just be way too cost prohibitive. But the lugs protect the bottom portion of the case, and even the bezel is kind of stepped out just a little bit, so you get some protection from the elements, so that you're not going to be worrying too much about scratching the mineral glass. The index to read the time at the 6 o'clock position, so you read it like a drive watch. It's actually very, very easy to read once you get used to it. You can read it at an angle. The only downside is when it gets to, say, 45 and after, the next hour is very near the index. So it's an easy mistake. Say it's 250 because the 3 is going to be almost on top of the 50. You look at it and go, oh, it's 350. No, it's 250 because it hasn't actually gotten to the 00 of the 3 yet. So as long as you keep that in mind, it's very, very easy to tell the time. The learning curve is very low, in my opinion. Multiple steps and a couple of finishes, the high polish and the lateral satination on the little bezel steps here, high polish on the top of the bezel, basic knurled crown with the stamp, which is a little turtle, and the battle axe in the middle. Let's go to the meat of the watch, the movement and the dial side. This is powered by a simple 821A, and that's basically because cost-cutting measures. You know, if it was a in-house movement by MB&F, you would not be able to buy it for the price point that you can. So he's stuck with an M821A because it's a unidirectional winding system, which means when it winds counterclockwise, it's winding the watch, and you can see just barely the gear for the winding as it winds. As you look in the right angle there's some brass gears that move with the winding. But when it moves the clockwise direction, it is free spinning. And so it will just spin like a fidget spinner all day long. And the movement was specifically chosen, so it does that. So it just spins and spins and spins because a bidirectional winding system doesn't have that free spin to it. As far as how it's actually built, it's pretty ingenious. The red ring is aluminum, and it's fixed to the circumference of the case somehow. I'm sure Max left that a mystery intentionally. And then the movement is housed in the red ring, and on top of where you would usually see the groove for the original rotor is a ring of gunmetal colored brass that is fixing the movement to the red ring. And you've got the fastener holes, you've got the winding gear exposed here, the balance wheel exposed here, and then the crown and stem release right here. The crown and stem are high polish, which is another thoughtful touch there. The fact that the movement is kind of raised above the red ring means you can, from an angle, see little bits of the movement exposed. And because of the way this ring brace is excavated, you can see the balance wheel from multiple angles, which is very unusual for a watch at this price point. Ordinarily, you'd have to go to like a Ferdinand Berthoud or a Grubel 4C or something like that to be able to see a balance wheel from multiple angles. So that's really, really cool. The battle axe, which is kind of the star of the show, beyond the super, super clear domed sapphire crystal, which I forgot to mention. This top crystal here is sapphire, and it's super clear. The battle axe is titanium, and it's reminiscent of the battle axe rotors that you would find on MB&F watches. Those are usually 2-spoke battle axes. This is 3-spoke to kind of give a little bit of separation between this company and MB&F, but beyond that, it's the MB&F battle axe in titanium, and it's probably grade 3 because it doesn't need to be high polished. And the fasteners holes here are holding tungsten weights on the underside, which are perfectly curved to the shape of the titanium so that you can't really see them, but there are tungsten weights on the ends of the 3 spokes And then, of course, you have that thick super luminova on the blades of the battle axe and the index and all of the numbers, so that you can read it at night or in low light quite easily, because the luminova it goes on for miles. It doesn't take much to charge. This watch, if you would say that a super high-end watch exhausts superlatives, this watch really gives superlatives a run for their money, because there's so much to see here. I thought it was kind of like a Hieronymus Bosch painting. The more you look, the more there is to see. And for a watch at this price point, that's unheard of. There really is nothing like it on the market. So if you're on the fence, don't be. Jump the fence. You will enjoy having this watch. I can't imagine they're going to get super easy to find in the future. They might continue making them, but certainly not in numbers that would make them, quote, easy to find. So buy one if you want one. It's not going to last forever. This is a one-of-a-kind thing. Thank you, MB&F. Thank you, Max Buser, for making something like this affordable to the everyman if they really want to. And thank you for watching my review.